that radio and back here. The cops ain't likely to catch up with us, not tonight. So we can all be quiet and peaceable and listen to the music.
It's time to turn off that, and it's time to turn up the volume and listen to Auto Dealer Live.
Repeat after me.
Auto Dealer Live.
That's right. It's that time. It's Auto Dealer Live. I am not David Villa. I'm Josh Fontaine.
That's right.
I wish I was David Villa. I live vicariously through David Villa, but I'm not David Villa. I'm Josh Fontaine. I'm the sales director here at Imperial Press. I'm filling in. Oh, thank you. School children follow me everywhere I go. It's weird. But no, I'm excited to be here. Mr. Villa is in Texas. We're going to talk to him here in just a little bit. Martin, it's going to be a good show, man.
Absolutely.
I'm pretty excited.
Absolutely.
You doing all right today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm stoked.
Are you?
Yes, sir.
Oh, good, man. We're going to be talking about something that is pretty close to all of us. We're going to talk about social media a little bit today. I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's going to be good. We have Ryan Holtz is going to be on here in just a little bit. And we'll have him on here. We're going to be hearing from him. This guy is a social media guru, marketing expert. So looking forward to talking to him. We're going to talk to David Villa. We're going to find out what he's up to today. And he's a Florida boy. I think he's pretty cold. So
yeah,
he's hopefully somewhere warm right now. For those of you that don't know, Florida's pretty warm pretty much all year. So anywhere you go where it's 30 or lower.
We have seasons.
Yeah, it's been kind of cold.
Summer.
It's been a little bit cold here today.
Yeah.
It got up in the 50s. People are wearing winter parkas. It's weird. But
yeah.
But no, yeah, we're excited, man. We want to hear from you today. Go to Twitter. It's hashtag Auto Dealer Live. We want to hear from you today. You can tweet out your questions. Anything you can would like to respond to, we would love to hear from you. You can call in at 813-463-4043. That's 813-463-4043. Feel free to call in. We'll be taking questions here in a little while with Ryan. We look forward to your feedback throughout the course of the show today. It's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good show. Ryan, like I said, brings a lot of expertise to the table. We'll look forward to hearing from him and shining some light on a topic that I think is pretty relevant to car dealerships. You know, they want to know how to maximize social media. It's kind of an unknown thing right now. They want to learn how to maximize it. This guy knows what he's talking about. I'm pretty excited about talking to him about it. Next week, we're going to have Alan Ram again on the show. He's coming straight off of the NADA this weekend. And I know he's going to be coming back with a lot of stuff to talk about. Really excited to hear from him. And it's going to be training day for him, man. It's going to be awesome. So,
absolutely. Yeah,
man. So we're excited. We're going to bring on Mr. David Villa, I think.
David Villa?
Yeah, I think. Let's see if we can find him.
Is he on the line? Let's see. Hello.
Hello.
David Villa.
I'm here, man.
That is him.
Guys?
That is him.
Hey,
He's
what's
here.
happening, Dave Villa?
Man, I tell you what, I heard you was listening to you, Josh, and dude, cold. Cold is, I don't know what it is, man. It's like Texas it's like you're walking outside and like ice picks are stabbing into the side of your ribs. It's about 28 degrees here where we are. Yeah. And we just had some snow flurries that actually just kind of hit my windshield a little bit when we were driving back to from a dealership.
Yeah.
And we flew in. Jason, our marketing director, and myself flew in yesterday morning. Some exciting stuff, man, is going on. We flew in and had a meeting in Addison, Texas, with the Southwest Business Center, Chrysler Corporation, representing the entire Southwest, 366 dealerships, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and Fiat. Yeah, man.
Awesome.
It went awesome. There were 40-plus area managers and Fiat brand managers in the room.
Cool.
And yeah, I'll tell you what, our program went over like gangbusters. We presented smart mail to them. It's really a good opportunity, picking up a lot of partnerships, and was extremely successful.
Awesome.
So Jason and I did that yesterday, spent most of the day there. And tell you today, man, we were here again today and had a good friend of mine client who, does a lot of business with us, Mr. Randall Reed. Jason and I just left his dealership about an hour ago. He and his general manager, operating partner, Justin Wright, the vice president, Bob Taylor, they were all there, and we had a good 2-hour or so meeting with those guys. Just a lot of good stuff, doing some business out on the road, and freezing our butt off.
Yeah, that's good though, man. That's awesome. I know Chrysler's got some big stuff they're rolling out, man. We're excited to be a part of that. That's great. I know you did great. For those of you that don't know David Villa, he's here every day, guys. I mean, this guy's on the tower working. He's hands-on for sure, so it's always a big hole here when you're not here, Dave. So we're looking forward to getting you guys back in here. Jason, man, it's hit or miss, whatever. But but with you, we're really excited.
Come on now.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Jason,
They both lead by example.
Well, I want to say something. You guys, listen. You know what? Thank you for your compliments, man. And you know what? It's always great. I love being around there. But I'll tell you something. You guys carry the mail, no pun intended. And while I'm gone, and even while I'm there. So Josh doing an awesome job, brother.
Thank you, man.
And I want to just say, I do want to say something. Just I know we got a couple minutes here, and you guys are going to be bringing on a guest, but something that we talked about the other day. Just this kind of, I've been kind of walking in it all week. We did a meeting. We did a meeting at the beginning of the week on fuel selling.
Oh yeah.
Versus process selling.
Yes, sir.
And, I was telling Jason, man, we've done nothing but eat pretty much. We've eaten like 18 times. But, we've had time to sit down and eat and just, talk and just go over a lot of things. And I'll tell you what, brother, we had to operate in that fuel selling versus process selling and had to make a choice. You know what? So I'm operating in my own words and things that I talked about. I believe in it. And you can't go by feeling, man. You can't go by feeling. You have to walk in the process. And when you do it, I'll give you one quick example without without really, I don't want to disclose, things that shouldn't be disclosed or what have you in a private meeting, but, in a meeting with Chrysler, just watching individuals that possibly weren't listening at first, because they've been there all day, 8 vendors throughout the day, all day. They've been there the day before. They're there today, having corporate meetings. And at the end of a 20-minute presentation, 10-minute question and answers, everybody that was on their phones or on their computers had closed their computers, had set their phones down, and were nodding their heads. Awesome. You know why? I didn't go by feeling. Feeling would have tried to control the situation, try to overpower, try to talk, and be intimidated or affected by it. But process, you do what you do, and you know what? You trust the process.
That's right.
And I'm telling you, by the end of it, Jason and I were talking at the end of it. He said, man, he goes, I watch people put their laptops down, put their phones down, sit down, nod their heads, and agree. So really cool stuff, man. That's awesome. I want to just leave that with anybody listening. Don't go by feeling.
Absolutely.
Process, don't fail.
Yeah, that meeting was spot on, man, because we're salespeople, we're emotional people. You hit it on the head in that training. We go by emotion. We ride the highs as long as we can, and the lows are hard to bounce back from, man. And it really does. If you really don't trust the process, because what we do is we react to it, and things start changing a little bit. Instead of us just staying the course and trusting what we know, we want to start jumping ship and changing direction altogether, and it's kind of a knee-jerk reaction to it, and it doesn't work. I mean, it never does. So, yeah, I've definitely learned in my time doing this and learning from you. Obviously, most of what I know I've learned from you, but just learning to stay the course, trust the process, trust your instincts, trust what you're good at, stick with it, do it, and the money follows. You say that all the time, and it's true. The money follows you being confident in what you do, how you do it. And trusting that your process works, and then it's just it's minor tweaks. It's minor tweaks to the process here and there, but you don't have to overhaul it all the time. And I think that's a tendency people fight sometimes. Yeah, definitely.
Maintenance, just routine maintenance from that point on. You guys are nailing it over there, man. You keep up the good work. I can't wait to get back in the office.
Well, I appreciate it.
Here's the deal, man. You guys nail it. You guys keep doing what you're doing, man.
Yes, sir.
And have a great show. And I'm listening to Jason and I have the laptop open right here. We're actually watching.
Cool.
I had to stand away from. I'm walking away from it as I'm talking because there was a delay, and it freaked me out a little bit. But anyway, I'm going to be watching it, man. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of the show.
Cool.
And you guys knock it down with Ryan.
All right. Thanks,
yes,
man.
Sir.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Right, thank you.
Bring back some of that barbecue.
I know. Bring us something, man. Bring me a souvenir.
Bring you. All right, man.
All right, man.
Thank you, guys.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave. That's David Villa, folks. That's the CEO of IPD, the host of Auto Dealer Live, and a lot of other stuff that he does. He's got his hands on a lot of different stuff. That's right. I'll applaud him. And I've learned most of what I know, which hopefully is a testament to him. I don't know, depends on the day. But I've learned from David Villa. He's taught me how to sell, that's for sure. And he practices what he preaches. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about that too. I mean, that meeting definitely hit home. And I encourage you guys. I mean, this isn't a David Villa plug. I mean, that's not what it's about. But, the stuff that gets produced out of here comes from experience, and the stuff that we're putting out there, training and things like that. It'll be a benefit to you if you can tune into it. I encourage you to do that, because it always, I'm in the meetings two times a week probably, and I've heard a lot of it, but every time I get something new out of it. And really, as far as field selling goes, I mean, you want to harness those things. You want to harness momentum. You want to keep those things. But the reality is, it's sales, man. It's up and down, and it's, you've got peaks and valleys. But I think you can, if you trust the process and if you've worked it effectively throughout the course of it, your valleys don't have to be so deep. You know what I mean? And it's always going to be highs and lows sometimes. But I think you can reduce the time in between, and you don't have to go quite so far down, And I've seen that, especially when people that are learning the sales process. They are on such a high, and if you could capture that and keep it, it'd be great. But life happens, and you got to learn how to stay through it. So, but it's good stuff, man. And
it's like athletes, man. They don't get their confidence in they're confident in their talent.
Sure.
But a lot of times when you hear them on interviews and whatnot, you'll hear that they're Stephen Smith. I just listened to a sermon with Pastor Stephen Furtick interviewing Stephen Smith, and he said Steve Smith for the Carolina Panthers, he said that his confidence doesn't necessarily come in his talent. He was born with that talent, but so is everybody else in the NFL. His confidence comes in his preparation and his process, and what he does throughout the week that you don't see until Sunday.
That's right.
When it's game day, you see the effect of his process.
Absolutely,
that
man.
he goes through,
and that's it. And it takes discipline. It takes perseverance. I mean, and I'm preaching to the choir. We're talking to guys who sell for a living. I mean, and I haven't been doing it as long as probably some of the guys listening, but it really is a staying with it and trusting your abilities but we're salespeople, man. We thrive on good stuff happening. We'll ride it as long as we can. You grasp for it, and that's just kind of how it works. But it's a matter of capturing it and duplicating it, and doing it the best you can. So, but it works. And so I encourage you to check that one out, man, for sure. It definitely will speak to you. If you're in any sales of any kind, I think you can relate to it, because sales is sales. It might be different products, different processes, but sales is sales. I believe that. And we're all wired about the same way. So type A personalities and all that. So we're going to keep going here. I want to kind of keep this thing rolling along here, because I'm looking forward to getting Ryan on here in just a few. I want to just remind you again, #AutoDealerLive. I want you to call in 813-463-4043. We're going to have a great show, and looking forward to it. But before we move on to our first commercial break, Martin, what's trending, my friend?
What is trending?
Let's find out.
Okay, Group 1 buys 2 stores in San Diego, Martin. Federal mogul to acquire chassis components business. Ford teams with universities on automated driving research. Fiat completes Chrysler acquisition and a $4.35 billion deal. VW's labor boss, Ostrich, says U.S. operations a disaster. Volkswagen's top labor representative has dubbed the carmaker's operations in the United States a disaster and called for more models and swift decisions to revive the brand. The Chevy Spark is the only tiny car to get acceptable rating in the new International Highway Safety Administration crash test. Most of the tiniest cars on the road fared poorly in the challenging new small overlap crash test from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, with only the Chevrolet Spark getting an acceptable rating. Bad news for you smart car owners out there.
That's exactly right. In other words, you drive a smart car or a small car of any kind and something hits you, you're in some pretty serious trouble. Anyway, let's keep moving. The whole Fiat acquisition, man, that has been going on for a little while now. I know Chrysler. I try to make it my business to know the car business, because I service the automotive industry and have for quite a while now. And that acquisition's been coming down the pipe, man. And Chrysler's got some good stuff happening. They're up every quarter over where they were last year, and they were up last year over the year before. So they've got some good stuff working.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I've been just doing some research on it, reading up on it. I think that Fiat's going to be. I think it's going to be remain to be seen what they're going to do, but they've already pretty much had 51% up till now anyway. So I think it's just going to be able to streamline some stuff. One thing I did see I was excited about, I think it's going to be good for the manufacturers, is they're going to be opening up some of the factories that have been sitting dormant.
Right.
When I read that they were bleeding $100 million per day because of the factory sitting still because of the whole process of the bankruptcy and all that.
And that should trickle down to the local dealerships.
Absolutely.
You know?
It's gonna. It starts at the top.
Them sitting idling by is not.
That's right.
Definitely.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, man, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. We're going to have Ryan Holtz on. You're listening to Auto Dealer Live. Glad to have you.
Any company out there can sell you direct mail, but only at IPD does your direct mail become intelligent. We have revolutionized automotive direct mail by implementing today's cutting-edge tracking and response technology. However, to simply stop there is just not smart. Introducing Smart Mail 2.0. With our Smart Mail 2.0, we begin with a phone call the day before your mail is to be delivered to give top-of-mind awareness so that they will be on the lookout for it. The next day, when your mail arrives and is opened, they will see that they have a variety of different ways to contact us. With our smart components, we have set up your mailer to maximize a response. You have the 24/7 toll-free number, personalized URL, texting, select mail, and QR code. We also have our program's Right Track. IPD's Right Track program revolutionized the credit mail industry. We have launched a department that will take every person that isn't able to purchase a vehicle through our Equifax Smart Mail program and assist them in rebuilding, repairing, and restoring their credit. Within a few short weeks, they will be sent back into your dealership with the ability to purchase the Also, we have Social Frenzy. IPD's latest smart component is taking automotive direct mail to a whole new level. We prompt every person that responds to like and then share your dealership's Facebook page. That's right, we incentivize your mail recipient to share your page with their friends. We upload a customized video and banner page to your Facebook, and our BDC then drives traffic to your page using the very friends of your potential customers. It begins with the mail responders, and before you know it, becomes a social frenzy, reaching thousands with your page. We also have our Second Win mailer, which takes that letter sent out 2 weeks after the initial mailer hits home to give that person a second chance to come in. IPD has one of the most advanced automotive call centers that specialize in converting calls, emails, and text into credit applications. With all the leads that turn into appointments scheduled, that will lead to more ups and a better chance to increase your sales and ROI. Your appointment shows up with this mailer or Second Win offer ready to talk to you about a car. Once the specifics are all finalized, you have a happy and satisfied customer, and so is your month. Smart Mail 2.0, 70% technology, 30% mail created specifically to maximize your ability to sell cars.
Get smart!
Any company out there can sell you direct mail, but only at IPD does your direct mail become intelligent. We have revolutionized automotive direct mail by implementing today's cutting-edge tracking and response technology. However, to simply stop there is just...
All right, we're back. We are back. You're listening to Auto Dealer Live. We're bringing on Ryan Holtz here in just a second. He's on hold. He's waiting for us. We're about to get him on here. We're excited to talk to him. Go to Twitter, hashtag Auto Dealer Live. Send out your questions. We'll answer them right here. And I think you can also reach out to Ryan on Twitter. I had it in front of me, I thought. I'm looking for it. We'll get it so you can actually reach out to him also. I apologize, I don't have that right in front of me. Oh, here it is, Ryan Holtz 1.
At Ryan Holtz 1.
At yes. Ryan Holtz 1. Sorry, Ryan. I got it right in front of me. I got too many papers. And you can call in 813-463-4043. I'm about to bring Ryan on. Ryan Holtz is an internationally recognized automotive marketer. Ryan recently has been featured by the Automotive News 3 times, Twitter, Automotive Success Magazine, Canadian Auto Dealer Magazine, Edmonton Journal, Spruce Grove Examiner, and on Breakfast Television. He most notably was responsible for getting his dealership to be the first ever automotive dealership featured alongside Barack Obama by Twitter themselves, and as a result, he was invited out to tour Google, Facebook, and Twitter at their head offices in San Francisco. Ryan recently was invited out to Los Angeles to the Internet Sales 20 conference for his contribution to the Automotive Success magazine. He's the first Canadian ever to be featured by this publication. He most recently was a recipient for Marketer of the Year by the Spruce Grove Chamber of Commerce. He's spoken at various events, conferences, committees. He's a sought-after speaker when it comes to anything automotive and marketing related. This guy knows what he's talking about, guys. He also sits on the communications committee for the Ronald McDonald House North. He enjoys hosting community events and initiatives. And he's actually just recently expanded into his own consulting and training company with an emphasis on automotive, but also services other industries. And you can visit his website at ryanholtz.ca, and that's Ryan, HOLTZ.ca. You can check out some information. I was on there earlier today checking it out. Some great content on there, some interviews with him, some references, all that good stuff. So you can go on there and check out what he's offering. But we're excited to have him on there. Ryan, are you there?
I am there. How are you?
Hey, I'm great. How are you, man?
I'm excellent, man. You keeping you're nice and warm down there in Florida.
It's warmer than where you are. That's for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I can't argue with you on that one.
Yeah. It's for us. It's actually kind of frigid. It got in the 30s a couple of nights this past week, and everybody's in like winter parkas and stuff like that.
Fire in the fireplace going.
Yeah, everybody's starting fires and all kinds of good stuff. So you'd be out in shorts and a t-shirt probably, but yeah. Well, Ryan, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, well, we're delighted to have you, man. We're excited to talk about this because I make a living talking to auto dealers. That's what we do here at Imperial Press, and we don't plug IPD that much, but we service the automotive industry in a way that I know that you do also. And being on this end of the phone, talking to dealers, we hear from them often when it comes to social media. Most of the dealers that we talk to have Facebook, they have Twitter, but in the next breath, I have it, don't know what to do with it. And they don't know how to effectively market with it. They know it's almost becoming like some other forms of advertising. They do it because everybody else has it. But knowing how to maximize it and actually get people to it, things like that, there's a breakdown there. And I think the average dealer, I think this is going to be something that's relevant to where they are because they don't know how to effectively market to their target audience through social media. So it's definitely a need. I'm excited to hear your input on it and how you turned the store that you worked for. I was just reading what you accomplished there, and I'll let you share a little more about it. But you took them from just a handful of followers to over 2,000 in just the course of a few months, and that's awesome. So we want to hear how you did that, man. So just tell us a little bit about you, man. We're excited to have you.
Thank you so much, for having me on here. First and foremost, trying to get good content is hard. So, kudos to you guys for having this show and just having conversations. Conversations is the most important thing in any aspect of life. It's communication.
Absolutely.
Communication is kind of the word I stand on, especially when we start talking social media. In fact, I tell most people, I say, forget those 2 words, social media, and just talk about communication.
Absolutely.
Just to elaborate on my background a bit, I actually started at the dealership in December of 2012. Prior to that, come from an online marketing, and
and my own business background. So zero automotive experience at that point. I'm definitely not the handiest guy out there either. So you won't find me under a car, working on a car.
Me either, brother. That's all right. Me either.
I like to look at cars,
Yep.
and I like to explore the different models and things like that.
Sure.
But hats off to the service tech. Anyways, I started at Zender Ford was a dealership at the time, and you just have a blank desk, and I was mandated to do the marketing, and I kind of sat there and said, "Wow, where the heck do I begin?" Which is where most dealers are right now,
Sure.
and
Yep.
the difference between me and a lot of other people that speak on social media is my success came inside of a dealership, and I actually worked at a dealership, meaning I understood the everyday struggles of one.
Sure.
So when I talk to dealers, I'm kind of on their level, and I am them because I worked at a dealership, so I understand the different situations and struggles that they go through.
Sure.
But basically, I kind of looked at first thing you do. When you're jumping in is don't jump in, just because everybody else is. Look at your dealership, and kind of audit what you guys are currently doing, and kind of go from there. I always say don't be a platform junkie, meaning, Pinterest is out, Instagram, Tumblr, Facebook,
Yep.
Twitter, YouTube. I mean, you'd have to have a staff of 5, literally, when you're first starting to manage all those. So I kind of say, look at your community, where your dealership's situated, and kind of try to figure out where everybody's at. And if you're in a small rural area, I mean, everybody's kind of on Facebook. Facebook in the last 3 to 6 months, the biggest, influx of signups was over the age of 55.
Oh, wow.
So people need to understand that. Now, maybe it's parents stalking their kids, right?
It could be. The point is they're still on there, right? Yeah.
They're still on there, and it's literally, a set of eyes looking what's going on. And anytime you have that, it's a place to get your message out,
Sure.
right? And that's kind of, where I would tell dealers to really start off. Audit where you're at, kind of pick maybe 1 or 2 platforms, learn those really well, and then just let your story, start telling your story on them bit by bit by bit. Everything you'll hear me talk about is all about storytelling. And that's, that's kind of my opening for that.
Cool. Yeah, that's great stuff, man. I didn't know that about the 55 and over. That's interesting. That's actually
Huge.
Yeah, that is huge. Absolutely. And talk about people that they don't like gimmicky stuff. They want they have a little more maturity to them. You know what I mean? They want something with some substance, something that's going to appeal to them where they are in life. And I think that's what you're talking about with the storytelling for sure. And
you betcha. And the thing is I tell dealers, right? I mean, anybody who works at a dealership don't have the fishbowl syndrome, meaning, you're stuck in this fishbowl and you're only thinking in dealer land. When you go out to dinner with your wife or your girlfriend or your husband or your boyfriend, or you go buy shoes, or you go do anything, you buy something, you now are a customer. So those same customers that are walking into your dealership, now you're a customer going to somebody else's business establishment. And the thing is always to put yourself in the customer's shoes. So, I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. I always use that 5 jabs and a right hook mantra, because I always think about it. If you're ever to first meet somebody and all you did was start asking them for something, pretty soon they're probably not going to start answering your calls. They're going to start ducking you, and, the relationship's off to a bad start. So I see a lot of dealers that get on Facebook, Twitter, 0.9% financing, 2
Right.
pay stubs, you're guaranteed. We have a 5-day sale right now. You haven't even established yourself and built any equity or credibility. All you're doing is starting to, throw right hooks, continuously. So everybody that's there, you're slowly knocking them out.
sure.
But really what you should kind of do is say, hey, I'm a human being. Let's start talking about things that they're actually interested in. In marketing, I always say, you make people laugh or you make them cry. But if you do neither, your statement didn't get out there, because I strongly feel like customers do not care about auto dealerships. They really don't. Nobody says on a Saturday afternoon, I'm just going to go hang out at a dealership.
Right.
You go to a dealership when you're in the market for a vehicle. So you have to try to make them care about you. And that's tough, right? It's a noisy world.
Yep.
But sincerity and transparency will get you there. And it takes hard work.
Sure. I love it. Well, let me ask you, I mean, You make a living doing this. I mean, obviously you know this market, you understand it, but I mean, social media inside of a dealership. I mean, I guess what all boils down to car dealers. I mean, they want to build a good word of mouth. They want to build a good reputation in their market because that's what's going to ultimately get them repeat business, things like that. But does it really sell cars? I mean, that's really what it boils down to for a dealer. When they look at it, one of the reasons that when I talk to dealers and my perspective on this end of it, one of the things that I hear from dealers is I think the reason it gets kind of pushed to the side, they don't focus on it so much, is because they have other mediums of advertising, things they do that actually produce that's trackable. They can look at it and say, because I do this, I'm selling this, whatever. So they can track that. They know that. But social media, I mean, is it selling cars? I mean, do you see that there's a platform there to ultimately increase their bottom line, get cars off their lot? I mean, that's really what they're putting their name out there for that reason. Ultimately, every decision they make is looking to get bodies to their dealership. That's what they do. And I know that, you know that. It would be naive to try to ignore that. Are they selling cars off social media? Do you see the platform there to do that effectively?
In my experience, it's kind of a two-part answer. If you want the honest answer, if I get on social media right now, will it sell me cars? Absolutely not. It just won't. It's, you haven't had anything built up. There's no awareness. However, if you get on social media and you consistently go at it for a few months and you start getting that brand awareness and you start hitting people that you would have never hit, I always look at, I'll give an example of billboards, right? So, my position at the dealership at the time was marketing and internet director. So I used to get pitched to a lot, right? Lots of vendors would come in and tell me they can kind of show me the world and all that stuff. So one company stood out to me, and it was a billboard company. And they said, hey, if for X amount, we can put you on a billboard. And, X amount of traffic drives by this location consistently. So the first thing I said to the gentleman, I said, billboard, interesting. I said, have you ever drove? And he says, well, of course I drive. And I said, so when you stop at a red light, here in Alberta, in Canada, we have something called the hands-free driving law, which means that you shouldn't be on your phone while you're driving. It's against the law. However, everybody still does it.
Right.
But if you're ever at a red light and you look to your right or left, you'll always see somebody with their head down. That means they're looking at their phone.
It's true.
But if you can kind of imagine, all those billboards are up, but where are they looking? They're looking with their head down, and the only thing that gets their head up is when somebody honks at them from behind.
That's right, yeah.
To get going.
Yep.
So they keep going, and they didn't see any of those billboards. So I tell people, I say, you know where the billboard is? The billboard is the phone, mobile. The billboard is the iPad, the tablet. That's the billboard that you want to be on.
Sure.
So Facebook, Twitter, 71% of all social media activity is happening on mobile. Just so everybody understands that.
Sure.
So they're consistently locked in with that. So if you're not on Facebook or if you're not on Twitter, you're not even in front of that demographic. So does social media really sell cars? Another scalable way I kind of look at it is I say if you have an internet department, and I mean website is king in my opinion. I'm very big on websites because website is your online storefront.
Right.
And I think about it, if you can kind of have a visual in your head and think about this website and call it the mom. So this is the mom of the house. She runs everything, and you have your little children going out. That's your arms of your social media, okay? So now your arms, your children can go out, get you some eyeballs, bring them back to your website. So if I'm an internet manager, I mean, hey, you want more visitors, you want more hits to your website, because that brings in more leads.
Sure.
But furthermore, if I pull up my Google Analytics and I say, okay, this was my traffic prior to coming onto social media. And then we say, let's give it 3 solid months. Then we pull up those analytics again and we say, wow, look at the traffic we're getting from Twitter coming to our .com or our .ca. Look at the traffic we're getting from Facebook coming to our .com or .ca.
Sure.
A lot of dealers out there have chat providers, meaning that if you hop on a website, whether it's 10 in the morning or 10 at night, the little chat box pops up, and then somebody starts talking to you. Those leads have a huge, huge conversion rate. Now, if social media is getting you more traffic to your website, giving you more leads, you're closing, does that not affect the bottom line?
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So does social media really sell cars? Absolutely, but I mean, it does a lot of different things. Prime example, and this is partly back to the fishbowl syndrome I talk about.
Sure.
Now, say somebody comes into your dealership and you made just a huge mistake. Now, what would happen normally is if you didn't rectify that mistake, they would leave your dealership. Mm-hmm. First of all, they're never coming back.
Right.
Okay? They're going to go talk to how many friends and family about it, and you are getting literally beat from the back and can't even defend yourself or make it right.
Right.
Now what social media has done is somebody gets online and they start going, at you pretty hard. You have this platform that you can actually say in front of everybody, sorry, Mr. Customer, here's what I'm going to do. And now you're getting that loyalty back. You might have saved a customer. You probably gained 2 or 3 just by the way you reacted to the negativity.
Sure.
Now you got some equity built up into your brand. So once again, does social media really sell cars? I mean, and when dealers ask that, in all honesty, sometimes I kind of giggle a bit because I'm like, well, does anything sell cars? Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like when you really think about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, human beings, we sell cars. When somebody comes and we give them great service and we qualify them and they walk into the showroom.
Sure.
Another stat I'll give you: 5 years ago, and I'm gonna get you to guess this. 5 years ago, the average person, what was the number of times an average person would visit a showroom prior to purchase? Just guess. 5 years ago.
Probably none. Or to come in and come into the dealership, you're asking?
Yeah, so meaning I'm a customer and I'm going to go shop around a dealership, but how many times would I do that prior to actually purchasing a vehicle? How many times do you think?
5. I don't really know.
Okay, yeah, you're actually pretty good. It was like 5.3 times.
Wow.
Guess what that number is today?
That was a lucky guess, by the way. I had no idea.
It was good.
Thank you.
It was
I
good.
appreciate it. Yeah, I'm going home after this. I was right once. I'm done.
Guess what that number is today, though.
I don't know. Probably maybe 2.
It's 1.3 times.
Wow.
So, So everybody who comes to your dealership's a buyer. And, I mean, you used to have second, third, fourth chances. Now you only have one chance to close the deal. But then dealers say, well, that kind of sucks. Like, they're not even coming to my showroom. Well, yes, they are. They're coming to your website. They're coming to your social media.
Yep.
They're coming to your third-party vendors. They're coming. They've been doing their research. They're just not doing it with you anymore.
That's right.
They're just doing it on their own.
Yep.
Right?
Very true.
So how cool is it when a customer, you're on Twitter and, here's a little nugget, right? Search.twitter.com. You could type in Chrysler, Florida, Chrysler, Tampa Bay, pull up the stream of everybody who's talking about Chrysler, and then you're going to have guys that's like, is that a 4-wheel drive? Is that a 6-liter? How cool is it that you can intercept in the conversations as a dealership and say, hey, Mr. Customer, actually, here's a YouTube video to that specific model that we just did. Have a peek. Cool, right?
Sure.
Before you'd have to pay for those kind of leads.
Right.
I mean, man, you're getting real-time leads. That's invaluable.
Yeah, that's a great point, man. That's a great point.
So does social media really sell cars, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great question.
Sure.
But these things are huge. So another example I'll give. I'm a big fan. Once again, I love websites because I'm like, I see a lot of dealers. Usually the customer knows how to use their website better than the dealer knows how to use their own website. And I look at a website and it's always been very kind of one way, meaning a customer will come, but you really can't communicate with them on the website. The only way you can communicate is through the numbers of the analytics that will tell you the story.
Right.
How cool is it now with social media that when they're coming to your place of online business, that you can communicate with them directly in real time?
Absolutely.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, sure. So
communication.
So it's an arm. So you feel like it's becoming an arm of reach, just like any other thing they do. I mean, let's just break down what a dealership does on a monthly basis. They're spending money already online, cars.com, things of that nature anyway. So they obviously see the value in the internet. They're investing money in internet departments. That we're seeing that more and more. So they're doing it because I think they're starting to understand more than ever that customers are going to go online. They're going to go online and they're going to price match. They're going to do all these things. They're coming in. they're more savvy than they were at another time, and it's actually become more effective than print. But so they've got print ads, newspaper, they've got TV commercials, radio spots. I mean, it falls under billboards. They've got different things like that, direct mail, different things like that. So you're putting it in a category of, you can build it into those things already. There's things you can point them to, whatever. But it's another arm of advertising, just like anything else they do. I mean, like you said, I appreciate the question. You said, does anything sell cars? Ultimately, they sell cars. That's what they do. That's ultimately what their job is to do. And so they're investing money in it. So more than anything, it's an arm of reach in their market in a way that they wouldn't know otherwise, I guess, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll give you a Facebook example. I'm a big example person because everybody can always relate to a story. But on our Facebook page at the time at the dealership, somebody got on and wrote us a nasty comment. So this is a two-way street I'm going to go down. So number one question I get from dealers: my goodness, Ryan, what happens if we make a mistake? They're going to go crazy on us.
Yep.
Well, they're going to go crazy either way. It's just, do you want to get in there and moderate it, or do you just want to get beat from behind? You know what I mean?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're going to beat you. They're going to beat you, but how cool is it to at least, not have your hands tied behind your back while you're getting beat?
That's right.
At least you got a fair chance, right?
That's right, absolutely.
I'm a football guy at boxing. I mean, I like sports analogies for the way we market and the way our customers are, because, they're beating the heck out of us. But that's okay. I mean, we're here, we're a business, and that's kind of what we have to do. But back to the example, so somebody got on the Facebook page and said, wrote a long paragraph saying how she felt that, she walked in because the way she was dressed, the salespeople didn't treat her with respect. Wow, that's a huge
that's huge.
statement.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not genderizing by this comment that I'm going to make, but I mean, it's always been a stigma in the dealership that, say, if a female comes in, that maybe she might get taken advantage of, and I mean, everybody knows what I'm talking about with that comment. So, and it's not bad, but the way you look at it, now you have this comment on your Facebook page, she said that, hey, because I wasn't dressed nice, I felt like I wasn't treated properly.
Wow.
So those are some huge ethical, moral kind of things, and I mean, if you don't address that properly, that does have the, kind of the capacity to, not be so good.
Sure.
So what I did is I said, okay, I actually fired her a link to our staff page. And I said, could you direct message me the individuals that you felt this way from? Wow. Right?
Yeah.
Could you imagine you're a salesperson, and all of a sudden your dealer principal fires off a link, and the lady says, yeah, it's that guy?
Yeah.
I mean, whoa.
Yeah, it just got a lot hotter in the dealership, yeah.
It just got a lot hotter.
Sure.
But that's okay, because as dealers, we want to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, only to find out, once I forwarded her the link, she said, oh, no, this was 2.5 years ago.
Oh,
I said, wow.
Wow.
So, okay, that statement alone says a lot. So, number one, it was 2.5 years ago. Okay. And number two, she actually is still feeling this upset 2.5 years ago to go find you on Facebook and tell you how she feels.
Yeah, crazy. It's crazy.
Wow.
Yep.
So, after we said, figured out it's 2.5 years ago, I mean, we know that in the dealership, sometimes it's pretty transient where we're going through different salespeople, they hop to different dealerships, et cetera.
Sure.
But anyways, apologized, said, hey, could we take you out for lunch? Basically just said, hey, you know what, even though this was 2.5 years ago, we want to make it right today.
Sure. Absolutely.
And through the conversation, all of a sudden she said, my husband's in the market for an F-150. So I said, oh. So anyways, they both came in, bought an F-150, and out the door.
There you go.
So I clocked the time from the time the complaint came in to the time they actually bought the F-150.
Yeah.
It was about 2.5 to 3 hours.
Wow.
How cool is that? And then she gets back on Facebook saying how great the experience was.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a great
so
testimony.
To really sell cars.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. We actually had somebody tweet in, and you guys can do that. I encourage you to hashtag AutoDealerLive, send in your questions. You can call in also. I gave you that number earlier, but it's 813-463-4043 if you have some questions for Ryan. But somebody texted in, or actually sent it out to us, Ryan. The question was, looking at social media, looking at and communicating that way, what's the largest obstacle to overcome in getting organic followers? So I actually, I think that's actually a fair question. As far as you're not buying followers, you're actually getting people to your page in an organic way, in a way that they're actually initiating it, they're comfortable doing it. What's the largest obstacle you see in overcoming that or dealing with that?
Well, I'll give two answers to that. First off, build your follower base organically prior to purchase or promote it. Fact. That's number one. Number two, the biggest obstacle usually is they're just not even on social media doing it. So, once again, back to what I previously said, when you're auditing yourself as a dealer, and you decide to make a jump to say, we're getting on social media. Right. And I want to make the statement here. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So any dealer out there thinking that they're going to escape this, they're not. No. They're not escaping it.
Right.
Because if I'm in an auto row and I got 10 dealers and 9 of them are on social media and I'm not, I'm going to get my butt kicked.
That's right.
Yeah. And so to answer that question, the biggest obstacle is your internal logistics. So number one, who's going to champion the social media? Number two, what is your voice and your culture inside the dealership? Social media is a great way of making your dealership feel transparent. The customer can actually feel what it's like to walk into your dealership before they even get to your dealership.
Yeah.
So they have to decide, are we going to hire out for this? Are we going to bring in a consultant? Are we going to hire somebody for it? Maybe get somebody to come in there and do some training specifically for social media and automotive inside the dealership. But the biggest obstacle will always be, are we going to do it? And if we're going to do it, how are we going to start the implementation process?
Yeah.
But once you figure that part out, you're kind of off to the sales.
Mm-hmm.
And just remember that first tweet, that first Facebook post, it's time to tell your story.
Yeah, I think that's great because, like I said at the very beginning, when you came on, talking to dealers on a daily basis, is they see that it's moving that direction. It frustrates them, I think, in how to effectively utilize it, and they have people in house and they feel like they've got to hire somebody, or it's just another thing that they've got to deal with, or what have you. You know what I mean? So it's hard to overcome that mindset sometimes. So I appreciate what you're saying. I think that it's definitely something that is the wave of the future. I mean, what are your forecasts when you're looking at the digital marketing efforts? And I've talked to a lot of dealers and different manufacturers, different things like that, and they're pushing. Manufacturers are beginning to push digital in a very strong way right now with their dealers. Now it's coming from the corporate level, but dealers are hearing it, and I talk to a lot of internet managers, I talk to a lot of people, and they're starting to put a lot of their eggs in that digital basket. I mean, what's your forecast? I mean, where do you see the digital marketing, how do you think it's going to affect dealerships in, let's say, like the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, it's interesting. It's a good question. So if you talk about the OEMs or the manufacturers, it's interesting to see because, you have your manufacturer, then you have your dealer. But it's interesting to see the way manufacturers are starting to pull back their traditional marketing efforts. Mm-hmm. So I always say, if the big guy's doing it, you might want to listen a bit, right? So they're starting to pull out of, some of their, even if you look at some of the manufacturers, and be honest with yourself here, if you hopped on to, say, Ford or Chrysler or whoever's YouTube page, and then you actually turned on your TV, when you're not TVRing, forwarding through the commercials, wink, wink, and you're actually watching the commercials, how many commercials do you actually see of auto manufacturers now? I mean, 5 years ago, it was inundated with them.
That's right.
And you've seen that pulled out a lot, right?
Yeah.
So I guess my forecasting is digital marketing is here, like it's here to stay. I mean, everything, is going away from, paper. I think that dealers will embrace it a bit more. But just like you get trainers to come in for sales training to sell more cars, you need to get resources and education for how do we market and tell our story digitally online. Because, and I ask dealers this all the time, the ones I talk to, I always say, well, how much do you spend on your marketing per month? So we break it down and, here's this going to paper, here's this going to TV, here's this going to radio. Okay, we're going to get some co-op money back for this because we slammed, all the logo of the manufacturer on there. And I said, okay, so what do you spend for sales training? Well, we kind of do some here, some there, but nothing to do with digital marketing or training.
Right.
In fact, some dealers are hiring their cousins or their aunties or their daughters or their sons to do their social media. Facebooking personally and Facebooking for business is two completely different things.
Oh, absolutely. Sure.
Speaking of that, Ryan, we have another question on Twitter here, and actually I think it feeds right into what you're talking about. How do you it comes from Jay Winheim, at Jay Winheim. Ryan, when calling on a dealer, how do you get past their initial response to hang up on you or ask for an email? Give you the blow off. In other words, from a training perspective, from you setting up their social marketing side of things, like trying to get them past that initial gut response, because we all know that they're getting hit daily with people. They have an advertising budget that they're spending X amount of dollars on. They have, all these people that are calling them, trying to get a piece of their money, saying it's for their cause. How do you handle that situation?
So just so I understand, is he asking if I'm, I don't want to use the word vendors or whatever, but if I'm somebody who is a dealership service provider offering social media or training, how do I get my foot in the door to even get heard in the dealership?
Absolutely, yeah. How do you break through that wall of old school car guy thinking, where they have things that they do and that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like they have their ideas of what they do, and and presenting it to a dealer. And it's a pretty focused question, but I think it's definitely something that because you do it, you consult with dealers, you consult with them, you sit down with them, you consult with them on their level, and present this to them in a way that makes sense. What's the most effective way you've seen to be able to overcome that initial barrier, that initial resistance that they have toward the social media aspect of advertising, marketing, things like that?
Well, I'll use myself as an example. I mean, it's a good question. Since I left the dealership and, quote unquote, went out on my own and transitioned, which is only, a month and a week ago, I haven't actually marketed myself. I actually haven't called up one single dealer. I haven't done anything like that.
Okay.
I've actually been reached out to from dealers.
Okay.
Now, I think, first of all, I'm very fortunate and very, thankful for that. But in my storytelling while I was at the dealership, I constantly built value. I built value for the dealership. I built value for myself as an individual.
Right.
And I think comes with some credibility and some integrity. Anybody who's ever met me, and I mean, if you read any testimonials or anything, people know I'm extremely passionate about what I do.
Right.
And, I'll sit down and just talk to a dealer and have fun, and I don't bring up any money. I mean, I love this stuff, right?
Yeah.
So if you approach a dealer saying that you're going to save the world and you're going to, turn his dealership upside down and, his sales are going to increase by 25-30%, that dealer's just going to tell you basically pound sand, buddy.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to hear that crap anymore.
Yeah.
And it's noisy. So the biggest thing I would tell them is build the relationship, build value around yourself.
Sure.
Get in your community, start doing things. And I think most of all, kind of practice what you preached. So, for instance, if I come and say, hey, I'm great at social media. So now these dealers are pretty savvy. Just like, okay, I need a sales guy. I'm going to get resumes in. So now they're looking on LinkedIn.
Right.
They're looking on the Facebook. They're figuring out, do I even want this guy in my dealership? They're doing the same thing with the vendors.
Sure.
So if I say, man, I'm great at social media, then this guy pulls my social media up, and he's like, he sucks. I'm better at social media than this guy. I mean, you got to lead.
Right.
You got to lead by example.
You better.
Here.
That's right.
I get guys like that all the time. They're like, man, I'm a Twitter guru. And then I look, maybe they got 55 followers. I look at somebody asked them a question. They didn't get back to them for like a week. And I said, do I want this guy doing my social media?
Right.
No way.
Sure.
Not a chance. So, yeah, my question, I guess my answer is just, build value.
Sure.
And education's huge. If you can educate that dealer and say, hey, look, Mr. Dealer, I'm not, I don't want to do the sales pitch. And sometimes some dealers are pretty tough. So you got to kind of come at them, a bit hard. But once, you kind of get one of their ears and you just have a conversation,
sure.
That's when you kind of can get, you can get in there a little bit. But
sure.
Definitely got to build value.
Yeah, absolutely. A great point. Absolutely. I guess what I would ask you lastly is, because we're going to wrap it up here, we're going to come into I guess so, right, Martin?
Yeah, we're good.
Are we good?
Yeah, we good till about 4:30, so we got
Okay.
about 5 more minutes.
Okay. Well, I kind of wanted to bring one more thing to you because I think dealerships are starting to get it, Ryan. I think they're starting to understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? I think it's starting to resonate with them. I
Right,
think they're
right.
starting to get it. So I guess they are starting to designate people to do this. They're hiring internet managers. They're hiring people in that are managing websites and managing their cars.com and analytics and things like that. So they're fighting harder than they ever have to get their dealership number one on Google searches, things like that. You know, so and I know you just go. In my profession, you know, dealing with automotive industry, you go to Google, you Google a dealership, and you've got 4 other dealerships over here that have paid to have their name put there just because you put Toyota in Kansas in, or whatever the case is, you know. So they're starting to get it. What's your last, I guess lastly, just kind of some parting wisdom with us today, and we'll have you back on, man. This has been great. We've really enjoyed our time with you. But some advice for digital marketing managers, you know, sales managers, GSMs, internet managers, the guys that are taking this, they're looking at it kind of like you did when you walked in with the deer in headlights look, when they sit down and say, okay, this is your job now, and you're looking at it and say, okay, you know, and you've kind of said it, but it's going to be recapping a little bit what you've already said. But how do I start? Where do I even start? How do I get there? You know, because they are starting to task these people now, and it's not a dealer principal, it's not a general manager in most cases. They have people that they're tasking with this. We want our name out there. We want people to know who we are, and these are the ways we want to do it. What's your parting advice for those people that are taking this, building it from the ground up? Obviously, one of the things they could do is consult with you, obviously, but just looking at it overall, what's your parting advice for them? You know, starting from maybe it is that dealership in the middle of nowhere that they don't know.
Well, we're going back to I guess I'll answer with, and I'll start off with the psychology, and this is a bigger thing that's happening than just digital media. We're shifting the way our brains are thinking as human beings, and we're, you know, I in some of my presentations I use a slide of Alexander Graham Bell. You know, supposedly he invented the telephone, right?
Right.
So now that was a huge form of communication. Now we have this thing that we call social media and digital. So now it's a different form of communication, but it's absolutely monstering the world. So my parting advice is, a lot of people who are in the roles of digital marketing, or they're doing their social media, they don't get the support of a dealer principal. Number one. That is my biggest thing I hear. Every time I go to my dealer principal and I tell him this, he just doesn't support me on that. So I always say, it starts at the top and works its way through the dealership. So the dealer principals, you know, education is huge. And I'll give you an example. If I was to try to say what's something that you know nothing about, you're oblivious to? Just anything. Food, like, what do you not know anything about where you're like, oh man, I wouldn't even know where to start?
I don't know anything about brain surgery. I'm not a brain surgeon.
Okay, so now let's just assume you're living when we talk about this. You gave me a tough one, but that's okay.
Sorry, I wasn't sure.
Assume that,
you put me on the spot, Ryan.
Let's assume you need brain surgery.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, assuming you're okay. You're
that's
not
a strong
emergency
assumption.
room. Yeah.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you.
But somebody said, hey, I'm going to charge you like $150,000 to do this brain surgery. Now, yeah, you kind of are a human being, so you know you need it, but let's assume you didn't know. How would you even be able to value that if you know nothing about it?
Right.
So my point is this. I'm Mr. Dealer Principal, and somebody says, you're going to invest X amount of dollars into digital marketing. And they hear a number like, you know, it's going to cost you upwards of, let's say, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month. They're going to say, what? Because they don't even know the value about it, and that's okay.
Right.
But once they go out and get education and understand what the heck this even means. For instance, somebody says, hey, man, you're getting a lot of unique visitors. You're getting this many impressions. Your click-through rate is this. If I'm a dealer, I'm like, okay, deer in the headlights. But if I actually say, wow, here's what this means, here's what this means, here's what this means, then the dealer says, wow, I understand the value of it.
Sure.
So if I'm dealer principal, I'm going to get educated, and once I get educated and I see value, I'm going to bring resources in for my guys so that they get value and they start to see that.
Sure.
So if I'm a digital marketer or I'm starting out in a dealership, you know, constant education. You know, it's always easier if your dealer principal supports you and buys in. I was very luxurious and very fortunate for that. You know, when I was at the dealership, it was pretty much, hey, Ryan, you know, kind of do what you want. You have free reign. that is like, wow, beautiful, right? Because
Yeah.
it gave me the luxury to go and explore different things. But you better believe at the end of the month, I need to justify what the heck I was doing.
Sure.
Well, I
So
think
that's where my storytelling became really good.
Right. That's where that's where your story developed. Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Ryan, on the dealer's perspective, I mean, it boils down to, are they going to take it as an opportunity? You know what I'm saying? Like the story you mentioned earlier with Twitter and the woman that complained. You know, you didn't see that as a problem. You saw that as an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Babe Ruth was the home run king, but he also was a strikeout king because he gave himself many opportunities.
Yeah. It
You
is.
know?
You betcha. But I mean, think about if you're a dealer principal, right? And you're kind of like, okay, I got this Ryan guy. He's in my dealership.
Yeah.
And I don't know what he's doing. You know, he's doing all this computer crap, but I don't know. I mean, I'm old school, man. Sell his damn car. You know, Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross style. You know, if you can't sell, walk. You know, but then Ryan comes to you and says, hey, Mr. Dealer Principal, look at this situation we had on Facebook today. And guess what? She was actually so livid with us, and then she bought a truck. Well, now Mr. Dealer Principal's like, okay, so this Ryan guy is doing some stuff.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's part of it is just, like you said, creating your own story, presenting value to your dealer principals. So I think that's probably what the point you're driving home. Obviously, dealer principals have to buy into it, but it behooves the person that's a responsible internet manager, marketing, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They are responsible to educate themselves and present it to them in a way that's going to show them ultimately you're going to make money on this thing and I'm going to help you do it. You know, and that's really what it boils down to, developing that story. So but man, yeah, it's Ryan, we're kind of running out of time here, man, but it has been a pleasure having you on here, man. So much substance to what you're saying. We just appreciate it so much. And would you come back on it sometime and be a part of what we're doing?
Absolutely, man. I mean, this is a conversation that's going to keep going. So, I mean, if I can help fill in some gaps, I mean, I'd love to be on as much as you want to have me.
Okay, we appreciate it, man. And you can follow Ryan Holtz, the number 1. That's at Ryan Holtz, number 1. On Twitter. You can follow along what he's doing. He's going to have some content coming out. I encourage you to check it out, man. That was some good stuff.
Yeah,
I enjoyed that.
And you know what? They can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Visit rhinos.ca. I mean, I'm constantly putting out stuff that hopefully is assistive to some of the dealers.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Hey, thank you, man. We'll be talking to you again soon.
All right, take care.
All right,
thank you, Ryan.
Thanks, Ryan. All right, guys, that was Ryan Holtz. Some good substance to that stuff, man. I enjoyed it. That was great.
Yes, sir.
Just gotta change our mindsets a little bit. That's really what he's saying, you know?
Yeah.
It's opportunity, missed opportunity if we don't maximize it. So there was some great substance to that, man. We encourage you to check him out. It's been great. We got through it. I didn't screw up too bad. I didn't drop anything. I didn't throw up. That's
you
good.
Did great, Josh.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And we look forward to having Dave back in here next week. We're going to have Alan Ram, training day. It's going to be awesome. He's coming straight off of NADA, man. He's going to have a lot of stuff to talk about. We're excited to have him back on. We appreciate so much you guys coming and spending your afternoons with us and checking out what we're doing here at Auto Dealer Live. If there's anything we can do to be of service to you, it's at hashtag Auto Dealer Live or at IPD Mail, I know is one of them. I'm not even exactly all
at Auto Dealer Live
and
and
Auto Dealer Live.
IPD Mail.
IPD Mail. You can reach out to us. And we would love to.
You can always call us on our direct line at 813-463-4043.
All right.
And if you have any further questions or anything, keep tweeting hashtag Auto Dealer Live. I'm sure Ryan will be paying attention to those as well. You can get his opinion, his response, and we will be manning the station as well.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. God bless you.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.